After a conquo in goal. What is love? After a conquo on loan from Arsenal.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching the world. Sean Driver, the Red Horde, and the neutral watch party right before the Wrexham match. The benefit that we have this year of Sky Sports picking games up outside of the 3 p.m. window is it gives us an opportunity to take on other matches. So we're doing that. Paying clubs around the league a little bit of scratched in order to be able to watch the game. And so Rotherham United, the recipient of this one, not Huddersfield. This one was a little bit trickier. Normally when you end up saying, like, who's going to get my scratch? Who's going to get my money? It's a little bit easier to discern which one receives the whopping 10 quid. Rotherham got it this time, probably only just because it's a little bit closer to Donnie, I guess, and I have an aunt-in-law that lives in Rotherham. So as far as background, oh, by the way, welcome, Sean. Like button's down below. Subscribe button is there. Go ahead and click that. And I just realized I haven't sent the link to Brendan with respect to the YouTube chat. So while I'm chatting with you, I'm going to go and pull that for you. This one, look, a bit of a shocker. Rotherham expected to be one of the top 3 teams in the league, I think, by most at outset. They're currently sitting with just one draw to show for their work. Bottom of the table. Well, not the bottom, not the entire bottom. But tied, and with their goals for, they'd actually be in the relegation zone. I don't expect that to continue by any stretch of the imagination, but that's as it sits right now. They're taking on Huddersfield, expected to be one of the top teams in League One, and they are number 2 overall, and tied with Stockport and Charlton as the only 3, and I think 3 of only 5 in the entire EFL teams who are undefeated. So 4th game into the season, and actually a relatively big one for Rotherham, because, I mean, not going to write them off by any stretch of the imagination, but you want them to turn the wheels right. Brendan, are you on the screen with me?
I am, yes.
I'll let you give your thoughts on Rotherham and the Millers and the Terriers, Rotherham and Huddersfield, while I pull out a YouTube link for you. And
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I would say when I saw that Rotherham had done all their business really early, I was like, I was worried initially that, well, a team that gets all their moves done early and then has time to gel, that's going to be dangerous. But at the same time, they switched out so many players. I was like, wow, that's a lot to get going. Like, I wondered if there was enough of a core left for them to kind of bond to and figure out how to make it work. There were so many guys that got moved in. I was thinking, okay, who knows what you're going to get out of them. And so I thought it could go very well and they'd be near the top, or it could go very poorly. And so far it's going very poorly. Maybe it'll eventually gel and they'll turn it on. But yeah, so far obviously they haven't got going. Which, considering they're supposed to be a top team, you're thinking, okay, we want them to not do so well, but we wouldn't mind them doing well, at least against Huddersfield, who's off to a blazing start and we expected to be in the top 3 places somewhere, right? So I wouldn't mind them preventing Huddersfield from getting 3 today. Would be nice.
Yeah, I think the rule for me always is, unless there's it's a derby team or a team that we've got a rivalry with, that I always go for the team that's on the bottom to catch up to the team on the top. It's interesting, this one, you may end up looking at the back of the year and being like, oh man, if only they lost 3 more. So you don't really know, but I typically, yes, I agree. You cheer for the team that's on the bottom to take out the team that's above it where you are in the standings. So that's certainly what I'm proposing here. May have a couple of bells and whistles to add. I don't want to guarantee what those are until we get closer to the game and see if they're actually going to take and do their thing. But the game is only on iFollow. Yes, Stephen has it right. And Sky. If you're in the UK, you can pick it up on Paramount, or not on Paramount. If you on Sky in Ireland and in the UK. So go ahead and grab that through Sky if you have it. Some dodgy sticks and all that sort of stuff work. But otherwise, you're listening to me cover this one blind. Well, I'm seeing it. Brendan, I believe, is seeing it. But for the rest of you, I guess you'd be blind unless you paid for the match yourself. And W&G, thank you as always for being there. And man, what do I do as far as preparing for this one? It's interesting when you end up looking at the table as well. You check out Rotherham. The biggest thing is goals for are sitting at 0. They've gone through 3 games and they haven't scored, at least within the league. I'm just going to pull up their matches and run through exactly their history to get to this point. They just lost to Fleetwood in the second round of the EFL Cup, Fleetwood Town being in League 2, so a tier below. Always a little bit of an upset there. Wickham beat them in Wickham 2-0. Rotherham was able to, with a red card, still get past Mansfield Town 2-0 in the trophy. And then the other matches, Rotherham Bristol Rovers was a 0-0 at home, and Exeter they lost to 1-0 away. So that's 3 consecutive games without a goal. Looking for somebody to stir the drink up front, and I don't have the exact picture as to what's happening and what's not happening in Rotherham, but it clearly, and whether it is just as Brendan identified, too many new players all trying to gel. And I did forget to say EFL Cup round 1, they did manage to get past Crewe Alexandra 2-1. So that's where they're at. Huddersfield doing the exact opposite as far as their run through the league, obviously sitting on 9 points. And they've only conceded 1 goal and they've scored 5. So them, a tough defensive team. There's only, I think, 3 teams that haven't conceded a goal. Stockport, Charlton, and maybe that's it. Only 2 teams who have not conceded. Stockport, obviously, 7 goals, 4-0 against, and Charlton, 4 goals, 4-0 against. Huddersfield right up there with them, doing their thing. So you look at Rotherham stats. I mean, it's pretty nondescript, other than Jamie McCart, one of their defenders, having 2 yellow cards, and they've had 6 yellow for the year so far to date. There's nothing else in the stats to be able to see. They've been mixing it up. They've only had 3 players who have run out for every single game. That's Humphreys, Adolphin, and Phillips. That's a defender, a midfielder, and a keeper. And so no exact picture. What's your thoughts? The Mo Fall signing, I'll probably get into it a little bit later and probably repeat myself. And I put this out on Twitter is I'm excited about the move. A 6'5" guy. He scored his first ever professional goal in the racecourse. When you watch the highlights, he's actually pacier than I thought, and he's actually better with the ball at his feet than I thought. You don't expect 6'5" guys to be able to do their thing. So that's all positive signs for a 23-year-old. I do think it's going to take him some time to ramp up But who better to have teaching you little secrets than Stephen Fletcher and Ollie Palmer and Paul Mullen? So I think that he's going to be fine. I think if we expect him to come out of the gate and be pumping in goals, we probably set the bar too high. He's going to be a 2 years from now, look back and go, that guy's was solid. And I can't believe we got him. I don't know, Brendan, if you have thoughts. Oh, and are we getting close to starting here? I've got no broadcaster, but I heard a whistle.
Yeah, let me know when it starts, obviously.
Yeah, I've got no broadcaster, but we're getting close to the start, Huddersfield. So I don't know, before you leave, take your thoughts. What do you think of Mo Fall?
I like the idea of us, again, grabbing a young guy who can develop and be better. I like the fact that he's slightly more of a target man at his size than is Mullen. So it looks like you could potentially pair him with it. So I like both of those things. I don't know. I mean, I was kind of also interested in that, getting that for the future, but at the same time getting an established goal scorer that we could count on. But the problem is then would the young guy ever get any play? So yeah, I mean, I hope he's able to dethrone Ollie from that that spot. And that, because Ollie's playing well, which means Fall has to be playing quite well, and we'll be doing well. So I'm rooting for him. I wonder how long it's going to take him to crack the starting 11.
Yeah, no, it's. I would be surprised to see if he's potentially on the roster as well, right? And I've just gone to Twitch for the first time, so everything seems to be set up on all fronts. We're getting close to getting started here. Rotherham is going to be going from left to right on your computer screen, and Huddersfield from right to left. The Terriers, as it looks like it's about a 70% full stadium, and Seb Stogbridge, the ref for this one. So we'll get into it. Feel free to throw your 2 cents in, and I'll mark it, and away we go. We're underway. Oh, whistle went. And the guy ran into the circle and they went away. So I'm interested to see where the clock is now the whistle went. False start. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw a false start to lead up the start of a football match. Reset, everybody. Now we're underway. So I'm going to bring up the FOTMOB stats so I can see where this is all going to go. And I believe we're at 21 as far as roster players go. And so having Dalby, Waters, and Bickerstaff out. And so the other consideration, too, is who are we going to potentially look at for free agents? Thinking that Josh Adam, the potential new signing, yet to be announced and may not be announced, but it has been training with the club for the last 10 days, whether he's going to actually put pen to paper or get invited to put pen to paper and join club. Anyways. Huddersfield, Rotherham, underway. Rotherham just trying to get into the 18-yard box. Not able to do it. And Huddersfield advancing forward all the way to down the left-hand side. And that's Karoma up there. Spinning 18-yard box, searching into the area. Front of the box, easily cleared away. Not much there. And Huddersfield grabs it back. Early possession for Huddersfield in attacks, but cleared by Rotherham. But there's a foul. Malik Wilkes. And I'm going to look foolish for this one. And somebody can, but do I have the wrong Humphreys? Thinking Cameron Humphreys was rumored to be going to Wrexham or involved with Wrexham in something. Or are we cheering for Rotterdam? Did I say Rotterdam? Rotherham? Rotherham, yes. Cheering for Rotherham. Not only is it my aunt-in-law, who's an absolute sweetheart, not only is it her present location and where she lives, but anytime you have to have somebody below in the standings, that's your support. So going to be a right-footed in-swinger into the box, up in the air over the attacking forward. So it's going to be cleared away, and it's pumped back into Huddersfield. And this is just a battle in the air that Rotherham has and then gave away. Yikes. Dangerous territory, got it back. This is just pinball, scramble. And finally pumped all the way down the field by Rotherham. And is it going to stay in to be able to collect? And Dami and the defender missed it. So now he's got an empty byline run and just lifts up over top, and it's going to go for a corner. Nambe had no business getting that right near the end of the line. Both he and the Huddersfield defender running full pace for it, and he ends up nicking the ball. And number 23, the defender for Huddersfield, just ends up blasting right past him. And I don't know who that is for Huddersfield. Oh, Lonwick on the opposite side. So there's the corner. It's easily headed away, but it's down for a volley that's completely whiffed on. Just scrambly play. Players are getting to it, but clearances you expect to be cleared away, not getting cleared away. Passes down the pitch being miffed and muffed and knocked to somebody else. Lots of pinball bouncing through the air. First touches have been clean, but then tackles soon follow. And there is Huddersfield throwing it down, and they'll have a throw-in from about 30 yards. That header, not much there, had about 5-6 Huddersfield players all sitting around in the middle of the box, able to clear that one away. And yeah, just scramble again. Ball's bouncing. Nambe. It was a good little play. I'm not going to lie to you. I was rather impressed that he was able to not only get there in time, but to be able to draw that back and the defender goes out. Up with the Roosters. I am up with the Roosters, not the West Coast. Everybody else is sleeping in this place, and I don't want to talk too loud because then I'm going to end up with munchkins in the place. But I was saying at work yesterday that I was excited to wake up and do this. I thoroughly enjoy being able to see these players have a crack and see how the team's style and figure out exactly what we're up against, because otherwise you don't know until you see them. The reality is, and one thing that we learned maybe from the Reading-Wigan match, is it's really, really difficult to then take that and apply it and think you're going to get the same thing in the next game, because in that match, Dorset, I thought, was going to be able to shut down Barney. Obviously didn't, right? In this one, and when I say this one, I'm speaking of the matchup against Peterborough this afternoon. I'm curious to look at the midfield and see who ends up dominating there and controlling the game, because I think that that's going to be an important one. And I also think that just the style formation stuff is going to be important, but you never know. Maybe I'm not ready to be a coach. I mean, if you just look at the standings, you have an undefeated team against a winless team. Despite the fact that they're close in salary, I'm with you, Alice, that it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out and whether, Rotherham's got to right the ship at some point, don't they? Stirring the children would be similar to knocking the bucket down the mine shaft in Moria. Huddersfield with it, 35 yards, 18 yards, lots of pace, crossed and a bit wasted as far as the entry goes. One right back by Karoma, though, 20 yards off of the foot of the defender, a block by, and I'm going to say Taihi, and then knocked all the way out. If you can correct my pronunciation, go ahead and do that. That's two plays by Karoma. Pacey, smaller guy, seems to be rushing a little bit. And I mean, I've never gone into a game against what I would call a neutral club like Posh. Like, there's nothing in it in the game as far as history or otherwise, geographical proximity, players. I mean, there's been players who played for both teams, but no big deal. But man, they got some lippy fans. Right foot in swinger. Oh, dangerous one. And Phillips has to go up there and punch that one away and barely just got to it. And Huddersfield's got control of it 25 yards out. Right side of the box, looking for a cross in. Left-footed in swinger, goes far post, but cleared away by a Dolphin. Teehee. That's how it was pronounced. Teehee. Another one, the long ball rolling nicely for Rotherham, and they're only 2-on-5, 2-on-6 as Wilkes, and he danced around him. What? Oh, and that's got to be a card. Just a foul? You got to give him a card. He just like jumped all over the goalkeeper. Horrible defending by Huddersfield. They had lots of people back. It ended up being about a 3-on-7 in the end, but Wilkes ends up dancing around Sorensen, the midfielder who's playing as a back. And then as the balls get crossed over, Nichols gets completely jumped into, like full jumping hug that you'd expect from a loved one after you haven't seen them for 4 years. Just raced at him, jumped in the air and grabbed him and wrapped his legs around him. Nichols would not have been expecting it, as the ball was nowhere close. But just a foul, and away we go the other way. I mean, Birmingham's going to spend. I do want to look at the hole in the scheduling, because obviously we have financial fair play, which you can put in as much equity as you want. The FFP or the SCMP, what a waste of time that is as far as a cap goes. In the championship, generally speaking, that's got to be a yellow. Yep. Clark Harrison, this is the third time in a row where Huddersfield just horrible at defending the long ball. And they got beat again, this time by Clark Harris, and he just gets reached over and Stockbridge rips him down, takes the yellow card early. Like, I wouldn't say Rotherham has looked exceptional in any other way except for their long balls, and their pace to get behind the defenders is causing a bit of a nightmare. Hey, Hip Karma, I appreciate that. And there's the reminder that if you are here and want to hit the like button, go ahead and do that so that people know I'm here. It's always interesting with it always tends to be Wrexham fans leaking in over time. And yeah, I'm with you, Jinping, and I haven't seen you for a while, President. Have I seen you this season? If I haven't, it's nice to see you again. And if I have, I'm sorry that I forgot, but welcome back. Left foot, here it comes, taking a interesting, about 35, 38 yards out. I thought he'd be serving that up for somebody, but instead it goes right to Nichols. Wickham taking on Blackpool and going up early. Fascinating. I mean, Wickham, that would give them... They're at 4 points right now, and Blackpool also struggling. They're just sitting on 2 lonely points at the moment, or 1 lonely point, and I guess if my table's behind, so that's why I started with 1. Wickham started with 3, if I have that right. Always fun when they update the table. I miss where we're at. Header back to the keeper for Rotherham, and a little bit under pressure on a lazy pass back, but able to collect it is Phillips. Phillips on one side, Nichols on the other. Clark Harris offside. No call. I thought that was going to be offside, but instead it's into the box, and Clark Harris is going to eke a corner off of what I think should have been an offside call. But I'll tell you, this match so far, 50-50 back and forth. Neither team excelling. And very different. Huddersfield, long, methodical build-up. Happy to pass the ball around the box, where Rotherham gets it, and they've got, sort of like us, one speed going forward. And Hip's got the message I saw. I saw that message in Discord. Hip Karma, who was here. And I don't mean to slag people from Peterborough to say they're not all nice people. But I'll tell you what, they're fans that are on Twitter. Not really an easy left-footed outswinger from the left-hand side, and easily collected by Nichols, who just runs out and grabs it. So, yeah, Blackpool's having a terrible season. Rotherham's having a terrible season. You always end up having 1 or 2 who are expected to be up at the top who fall down, and you always expect somebody to come as a surprise. Don't know exactly who that surprise may be so far, because I think people thought that Stockport was going to be in the mix, but still working for it. And Cleworth has more goals than Clark Harris. Clark Harris has looked good early on. I will give them that. And howdy, Jack. We were just talking about Rotterdam by mistake because of the game involving Rotherham. Another long ball. It's pretty clear to me we've got very different styles between the build-up and the having a crack down the pitch. Rotherham in a 4-3-3, Huddersfield in a 2-4-1-3. And we're up against a 4-2-3-1 in the next one. So can't recall the last time we were up against a 4-2-3-1, and that's going to be fascinating just to see the difference in styles. Obviously, they're going to be looking for midfield domination. We're going to be looking for expanding things out to the wingers. And it'll be interesting which style and tactic takes it. Man, mistakes all over the pitch. Horrible throw from Lundvik, and then just cleared out by, was that Wiles? And punched right just to give away. Rotherham takes control. So feel free, if you're in the chat, give your thoughts too. Brennan and I did before things started the signing of Mo Fall. And as I calculated, we've got 21 roster spots. And so with Dalby, Bickerstaff, and Waters all going out. And so we've got one more spot left. Whether Josh Adam ends up, he won't take the spot, get signed and stays with the club, or we'll see. He's been there now for 10 days, I believe, in training with the club. Is there somebody else that we're going to go get as a free agent? Ball into the box, and I should have done something with that. That Marshall, disappointing, got ahead of it and underneath it, and so when he went up to go and try and head it, he had to reach back behind himself, and so the ball just ends up going off. I think he had more time to. I think a better jump and a better read, one step to the left, and he would have had a play on that one. That was just a mistake by the attacker for Huddersfield, Marshall. He and Karoma, who I've early on, if there's been a player I've noticed more than anybody else, would be Karoma. Headed out. Another misplay by Rotherham coming forward. Just scrappy. And as you'd expect, this is so much like what I would expect from the Peterborough game to happen. It's Huddersfield with 62% of the ball, us. Rotherham with 38%. But we've had more a better XG and been more involved. Port Vale up 1-0 over Donny. That was the most fascinating signing of all of the EFL to me was Adelakun. If you'll remember him, he was the player that got put on loan to Doncaster in the January window and completely flipped their season around. That's why Donny fans don't like Mo Fall, by the way. They say he's horrible and can't compete, and was part of the reason they struggled so much for the first half of the season. I don't know if you can put that onto one guy. I don't know if that belongs to Mo Fall. Ooh, an elbow in the back of the head, and the referee says play on. Interesting. Where Adelakun went in, and for whatever reason, whether coincidental or otherwise, he stirred the drink. It came forward. It's right in the 18-yard box. It's pushed back to a bad pass. It was played beautifully back to their number 10, Corona, who had an opportunity from 13 yards out, and he was in space, and the pass was to his left, and he wasn't able to get it. Was Corona and make a play on it. Is everything was there for them, the entire build-up, the open space. Wiles gets it over. It's set up for Corona, and he just can't do it. But going back, Adelakun, I would have thought he played well on the left wing. He kind of reminded me of Ehi Bashaman in that he was fast and strong and powerful. And he had the ability to set people up. And where does he sign? Salford paying the money to bring him in. I thought he would have wanted to get an opportunity for some League One love, and I thought he'd earned it. But anyways. If our left wing wasn't so stacked, I think he would have been a player that you would have looked to built with and potentially given an opportunity to. Kim's already into the stats, and she's right. I mean, this has been hits back and forth, and lazy balls back to the keeper that have been chased down in attempts to try and get them. First touches have been off, and there's the second touch that was just pumped entirely forward. That's a Dauphin who just gave that one away because the second touch to try and get with pace just goes to a Huddersfield defender, and so now they're on the attack, and it's Karoma trying to take on 2-3 guys. He draws a free kick from about 25 yards out. Other than him, he's been the only player who's looked like a threat. these two times are these two. There's 21 players on the pitch who look off right now. One guy who then, as a consequence, looks like Messi. Oh, it was Donnie who scored. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look that up, Dave, because I was trying to do it yesterday, but I admit it was like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. He's born in February of 2003. And I didn't look up the squad stats as to what the U21 calculation, but it looked like he may end up taking up the roster spot. But then I think I was just crazy because people were saying no. And did I compare it and get into it? No, because my brain was not working. I think it's largely because of the Mo Fall thing. But again, I'll admit, did I have a look at it in detail? No, because I was a little bit scrambled. So if somebody can feel free to tell me whether he takes up the spot. I probably should have done that before. Good morning, Alex. But I don't know if you've had those days where you're sitting there staring at regulation so long that you start to try to interpret even the simplest thing and you're like, this isn't working, so I'm just going to put the book down. Ellis, I stopped doing it. I stopped doing fantasy man, another yellow card going the other way. He's going to even let that one play on. Interesting. Wasn't buying what was being sold as far as the player on the deck, but I thought he caught him in the thigh, and that's exactly what the player's always holding his ankle, so maybe not. Teehee goes down on a challenge that completely missed the ball. I didn't play the fantasy stuff, and the reason I didn't is because I'm spending so much time trying to go through the regulations and trying to set things up and learn about the clubs and all those sorts of things that I just don't have the time to, or want to take the time to sit down over the whole season and run the fantasy stuff too. So I might, do I dare go to the 22-man roster and see if I can find it? Last year, Mark put together an amazing little piece that had it all broken down. And so I admit that I was able to cheat it. Billy looks happy in his and what's interesting to me is I'm pretty sure he still gets his bonus if we get promoted, even though he's been away season after season. I'll have to get into this here at a later date, unless somebody else has a chance to do it. I follow audio, by the way, has just gone wonky for me again, and I'm hoping that it's just a domestic issue. And they figured it out for Mark and for Mia, who unfortunately have been traveling and dealing with stuff. We're still in a pause, by the way. The treatment going to Teehee after that tackle, and Huddersfield is going to be able to start it with the throw-in once we get going here. I haven't given the update. As far as where I am, I'm coming up to the 21st minute here in about 7 seconds. So 21 minutes exactly in 3, 2, 1. There it is for any adjustments that have to happen for Brandon, by the way, who's in the back if you're just joining late. And then we may have a surprise later as far as the pregame. Looking at the first team and minusing the players who've been loaned out and minusing the goalkeepers, 22 as to your count. And so the question is, are any of them under a U21? Meaning that they were born after January 1st of 2004. And I haven't gone through it. Northern says we have one empty spot. Let me, I can go to my... Another throw-in went in, got cleared out exactly. This game so far is a snooze fest to begin, just largely because it's just mistake-ridden football everywhere. And another giveaway. Like just it's like every second if a team can put together 3 or 4 touches and passes, whoa, there's an opportunity. It's right there. And Nichols with an amazing save is out of nowhere. Clark Harris, and he ends up Billy Waters in the thing. The yips get him is Clark Harris had space, had time on a brilliant pass that came out of nowhere. As I was just saying, no team's able to put 3 or 4 passes together. And Rotherham says we don't have to. We'll just do it in 2 touches. And 6 yards away, a right foot flick, and the keeper's able to windmill. The Terriers keeper able to windmill and knock that one out, and it's going to be a corner. A left-footed in-swinger, far post, and had it away. We'll do a corner on the other side. Revan's not U21 because he's July 14th of 2003. And so that's after January 1st, 2024, because he'll turn... Anyway. Bent in by Rotherham again and cleared away by Huddersfield. Under threat for about 3 different phases there, but Rotherham... a lot like us, and that's the interesting thing is even as their center back grabs it and thumps it down the entire pitch. They've got pace up front. They try to get in behind the backs, and they're a foul as Huddersfield tries to break out. Ween stepping on the back heel of a Huddersfield player, just a constant pressure by Rotherham. 3-4 passes at most, and they'll have their attempt at goal, causing a bunch of mess, and there's no rest. There's no passing between the center backs. Rotherham's on the front foot. Huddersfield trying to build up through the floor, and as they do that, they make it all the way 25 yards out, and then they kick it into touch. And so it's still scrambly. 25 minutes in, some of the ugliest football I've seen in a while, to be fair. Go back to the chat here as I click through. I agree, Swirly. I was thinking the same thing. I thought when he was going to get his first minutes, they'd take it back, but they haven't. Blackburn scoring to go 1-1. Yeah, I don't know. Kim, I'm assuming you're watching this one too. Tell me, I mean, a lot of the people aren't loading this one up, I don't think, because we've got to pay internationally. And so if you're watching on Sky, feel free to add your 2 cents to see if I've got this one predicted wrong, as Huddersfield throws it in and they try to build it up, and the first touch is a bad one, and Rotherham collects it and thumps it down the pitch. Passing is overrated. I would suggest, Kim, that if you want to build up on the floor, that passing becomes somewhat important. Not necessarily a necessity in football. A little more important on the floor. Finally, Huddersfield's puts together about 10 or 11 passes, and we have something that we can talk about as they get to 25 yards out and they punch it forward, 18-yard box, and that's the pass that goes for nothing. But at least something there as they finally get around goal, but it ultimately ends up being nothing. And I'd say Rotherham's had the better chances. I can go to the FOTMOB stats here and see what they say. 62%, 38%, and almost equal on expected goals. It's just an icky one. Sunny day in Southern Yorkshire. Lonvik collects it, gets it up to Wiles and back to Lonvik. Switches on to his center back partner. Lees gets it over, moves it on up, and that's Sorensen. Tries to get around, and Rotherham able to nick that ball, and now they've got it. See if they can maintain control. Good pass along the line, and here comes Rotherham on the attack, and as they do, deliver it straight into the box. Clark Harris, and it's going to go for a corner. Somebody did the old Control-C, Control-V, like just the style of play that Rotherham has is Wrexham. Like it's so familiar, even though they're in a 4-3-3. I find myself drawn to their style. Hey, Marie, how are you? Craig, nice to see you. And yes, not in this game. Well, Birmingham's still going to have. I mean, I like the fact that we're taking our away shot at them early in the season. If we have an opportunity to draw points away from them, because we're going to get another Rotherham corner from the left-hand side. I'd rather take them on early. Left-footed outswinger coming, and I'm going to have to load up the stats here to get exactly what that is for the passing percentage. Yes, 43 to 62%. Long ball outside far post and whistled down for a foul. I don't know exactly what the referee saw there, but must have been a holding of the pants, if anything. So, yeah, 43% passing for Rotherham United. I'm trying to accurate long balls are at 15%. But they've been in and around it. One of those games that belies the logic of looking at the stats. I mean, if Huddersfield can do something, 62% trying to build through the floor. And there's another example, is that one's just going to be a throw-in for them, but Huddersfield gets interfered with by an attacking forward, and it just ends up going back out, and they'll have to deal with another throw. Go long this time. Rotherham collects, flicks on, and Lonvik tries the switch. Brutal pass, not able to get over there. Was that Marshall or Sorensen? Sorensen. And so it just rolls out. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. Long ball to Clark Harris, not able to collect it into the feet of the defenders, and Huddersfield grabs it and goes the other way. It's just the same process. Rinse and repeat over and over. Is now another giveaway by Huddersfield. And call it, I think, to be fair, part of this is Rotherham's defense. There is a bit of a press coming forward. I wouldn't say substantial enough to end up causing all of these mistakes, but it's partly Rotherham defensively, and that was Clark Harris. Brendan's going to be groaning in the background. I'm not sure if he's loaded this one up or not. But that was Clark Harris literally doing a somersault roll without being touched into the defender and drawing the free kick. Brutal. Phillips gets it underway. The keeper all the way up to the midfield stripe to play it, and that's a flop. Oh, this official, another flop the other way, and he lets that one go as the player gets pushed gently in the back, and he throws himself to the ground, and the referee almost apologetically blows his whistle. Huddersfield goes on a cross attack and gets a shot on goal, but just goes left and wide, missed by Sorensen. Sorensen had that about 19 yards, right footer, and he just missed the far post low and outside. Potentially the closest to a goal that we've had, and not really much in it, but the keeper late to get there, Phillips. Port Vale ties it back up. I think it was 15 million quid, wasn't it? 12 million for the transfer, and then the add-ons and the for promotion and also the sell-on clause. Put it at that value as Rotherham gives that one away, and Huddersfield trying to go in the counter-attack again. We'll see how this works, as they've looked good in counter-attack. So when Rotherham's been set up, they haven't been able to do it as Karoma all the way up. Sorensen, right-hand side, looking for a cross into the box. Still dancing with it. He's got James marking him, and he's just going to draw it back. Not much there. Lease all the way up, and he gets it forward, and there's a shot. Wake. Marshall from the edge of the box tries to put his left foot on it, and he just tippy taps it across the line for a goal kick. Ugly, ugly game. Crazy, right, Kim? Could end up being as much as 20. I mean, it's all part of that championship. I don't think I finished my thought. The championship, their financial fair play rules have like a 3-year average of how much they're allowed to spend. And if you load up when you're in League One, that year doesn't count. So Birmingham taking the opportunity to load up, and Blackpool evening the thing up with Wickham early. Goals over there, nothing. Snooze fest over here. And I love that one in Halifax, so we'll miss the Wrexham game. We'll be flying home. I'm assuming that you're in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and not Halifax in the UK, but maybe I'm wrong. Almost bought property in Halifax, and it would have been a crazy. We put an offer in. It would have been crazy. Completely different outcome on life probably had that have happened. Kelly out to edge of the area. Laser just misses the top of the net. That was played in right to the edge of the area for him to run out onto. I absolutely loved Halifax. Most underrated city I've probably ever been to, other than maybe Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. That one took a deflection. Sorensen just got his toe on that one. But it was right there. Yeah, so I mean, they've got the money, they've got the turnover, they've got the owners who are willing to eat it, and so they've decided to load up, and they're going to try and take a run to get to the Prem, right? By having load up this year, and then that gives them 3 more years where they just have to stay within an average, and they'll have players who hopefully they're able to build with. It's a good little thing. But yeah, the friendliness of Halifax and the downtown is a lot of fun, minus pushing a stroller up the hill. I got a lot of love for Halifax. All the lakes around it. Given away, and here comes Clark Harris coming the other way. Is he going to play the ball forward? He is. Ooh, close to being offside. Yeah, just offside. Nombe took one step to the left while he was running forward and just put himself off by maybe a foot. Stansfield scored 12 last season. I mean, they've got obviously love for him. Got to get out to Peggy's Cove. Also liked Hatchet Lake, although the swimming area wasn't nice. That whole area out there was really nice. We were there for a purpose because we were considering moving out there, and so we were actually going to community fairs and events, whether they were out in Dartmouth or up in the north part of Halifax. And so we were checking out communities in Chocolate Lake and trying to find out where we were going to potentially live. Halifax is getting stupid expensive, but not quite Vancouver stupid expensive yet. Speaking of which, anyone want to buy a place? I'm selling our condo. Right-footed in-swinger from Huddersfield, easily collected by Phillips, and he's going to turn that one the other way. Nombe, able to maintain possession, fight for it. Nah, he's not. Kept it in, doesn't go for a throw, but really just a giveaway on that end. We've had an offer that we accepted on a property, so if we can sell this one in the next 4 weeks or so, we'll be moving. I just need somebody to buy our place. Huddersfield with it, building up through the floor, back to Lundvik, who's playing it at the 40-yard box. And so this is the type of play that Huddersfield wants to do, is they get the switch out to Sorensen on the 18-yard box, 2-3 yards from the goal line, into the middle of the area, and click up into the air and off the back of another defender, so it's still up. Kimura grabs it, lays it up, and here comes a right footer, and it's headed away, and it's going to go for a corner. So that was Evans who took that shot from about 19, 20 yards out. Right footer hit a defender in the head, and it rolled out. It's, again, if it goes through Kimura on the left-hand side, they've looked a hell of a lot better. And then with Marshall, who tends to be on the right. Looks like Huddersfield sold out their away end. Right-footed. Short post. Whoa, it's messy, and it was missed on the punch. Don't know if it was deflected, and it's put back in. It's right there. Oh, you had that. Should have been in. Horrible header attempted there. That was Lease all the way up as the right back. Playing in the area. That was That's a big miss. It was pushed across the face of the entire goal by Marshall, and it's there for a header, wide open, nobody on his back, opportunity, and I don't know how he missed that. He's literally 2 yards away, and he somehow put that over the goal. Bounced off the top of his head, domed him right on the top, and went over the net instead of being able to flick anywhere else on his head, and that's almost just trickles and falls into the net. Yikes. Horrible from Lease. Arsenal up 1-0. We need a bigger place for the children, so we're still staying in the Vancouver area and in the Tri-Cities. So we're just going to move one little city in Vancouver further west, and it's because A, it's closer to work, B, it's I think it's a nicer little community, and C, we'll get an extra 1,000 square feet for the kids to run around with, and a back garden and all the stuff that two boys should have at their disposal. So it's getting toasty in here. 38 minutes in and nothing to show for it. Is that no free kick called by on the defender, just grabbing him around the, I mean, he went down easy, but there was a full hug, grab, and throw. Kim says it's physically impossible to miss from there. Act of God must have been the cause. I mean, if the ball hits anywhere other than perfectly on the top of his head, that goes into the net. Like, he could have spun it off of a shoulder or neck and it still would have rolled in somehow. How's the West Ham loan from Huddersfield Town, Callum Marshall, looking this morning? To be fair, I haven't noticed him that much. He's had that nice pass across the box that Lees should have been able to collect with, and he had a whiff on a right-footed attempt on goal from about 19 yards out. Other than that, hasn't really been that noticeable. And as I look at the stats, he is the second lowest scored on FOTMOB. Oh, Nambe gets it forward, and here comes Rotherham again. Just once they're around the 18-yard box and they have the ball, they're just pushing the ball all over the place, trying to scramble themselves into attempts. But just not the necessary touches. The quality missing a little bit, the details. Oh, there's that left-footed over it. Oh, I don't know how he missed that. You just watch that on the replay, and I mean, I'm far a far cry from a professional footballer, but I think I could have put that one in. Miller put it in. A Dauphin clears it. Rotherham. Huddersfield now starting to get a little bit. Was that kept in? I don't think that was kept in, but they give it to him, and Rotherham's going to get that. Huddersfield was just about to say, starting to show some more capacity in implementing their strategy of just working it down through the midfield and then playing the ball around the 18-yard box and looking for an opportunity. They've been the last 3 to 5 minutes a little bit better at doing that. I wonder if I pull up the stats, Kim, whether the passing statistics end up showing that that's true. %70 accurate passes. I heard Brendan laugh, and as I was looking at the FOTMOB for the stats, so I don't know exactly what happened there as I see a Huddersfield player sprawled. Here's the replay. Straight push and a flop, McCart. They meet together, and the Huddersfield Huddersfield player crumbles like a house of cards, and it's a free kick. That's about 3 or 4 soft fouls that have been given by the official. That one, almost apologetically, he blew the whistle and then kind of sheepishly stuck his hand out to be like, okay, take it. Oh, great ball over the top, and here comes Huddersfield into the area and easily dealt with. Humphreys clearing that one up. Yikes. Huddersfield with it, and this is what I was saying the last 3 minutes, a little bit more control as they get this one to Sorensen along the line. He's able to put it back in, and header attempt by Marshall, but it's cleared by a Dolphin, and not much there. And here comes Rotherham trying to counter, and Nombe chasing it up, back pass, and Nichols just has to clear it out and say, I don't want this. I don't want to be that keeper who lets in a strange-looking goal. And oof, 50-50. I thought Evans got him there with the studs. And he's to the credit of the player for Rotherham, they jumped right back up, but now they're down holding their hips. But that looked a lot more vicious than anybody reacted to. 50-50 ball, but he had the foot completely extended, and it ended up driving the Rotherham player into the hip. And the Rotherham player bounced right back up, and then sort of almost in shock, and then ended up folding right back down to the ground again. But just a free kick given. And McCart seems to be all right as he plays it down the pitch. Nombe with it to the right. That's a Dauphin who's come forward from his right back position. As much as this is a 4-3-3, it sure as hell looks like a 5-3-2. Like a Dauphin doing the same thing that Cleworth does. Like I'm now looking forward to the Rotherham Wrexham game because it almost looks like it's going to be two competing styles and two teams that are happy not to have possession and just rush forward with the ball. It's going to be just back and forth, I imagine. A Dauphin with it, setting it up to Kelly, tries a long ball and not able to find Nombe, and it's headed out by Lonvik. These Umbro jerseys are getting a beating. The letters are coming off. The numbers are coming off. They say that Lonvik has already changed his shirt, and this is the second one that he's losing. Yikes. Nombe with it, 18-yard box, 3 yards away from the goal line, looking for support. A Dauphin comes up to help him out. Nombe still with it. Cross, right-footed, far post, headed down. Clark Harris not able to get there, but it's still in the box. Wilkes sets it up, shot, and it gets deflected. Is it going to go for a corner? No. Yes, it is. Haven't talked about this, but this is probably what you'd call a solid derby, or as close as you get, at least in League One. Huddersfield just to the northeast slightly from... Well, I guess Barnsley probably closer. Barnsley and Rotherham. But this one, close enough. Not too far apart, or Huddersfield and Rotherham. We're going to get 2 minutes of added time. Left-footed in-swinger by Rotherham. Powell ends up collecting a scrappy ball that was just headed away by Huddersfield out of the box in the corner. And so Rotherham's able to collect it, and they're trying to, while they have all the players down there, get it back into the box, but so far not there. And a Dauphin, Teehee, filling in for a Dauphin, collects in the back line. Humphreys, switch on. Rotherham, minute and a half left in added time. For the first time, passing around the box. As I see Matt's awake, taking pictures. Swept out, free kick the other way. And this is going to be the conclusion of the most... well, I call it boring. I mean, Rotherham's been trying. Huddersfield's doing their thing, but it's ineffective football. First half of ineffective football. That's what I'll call it. James, yeah, I'll get to that one here in a second because we're almost at the half. If missed passes were counted negatively, this would be a negative possession game. Yes, as he's going to get a yellow card here right at the end. Just ran over. Grab the jersey, run him over. 10 seconds of stoppage time. Huddersfield potentially with one more opportunity as Miller's got it. Dancing, he just kicks it out. Like the perfect play to sum up the end of the half in this one is he just danced himself foolishly and tried to right foot it to make a pass, and instead he just knocks it out into touch. I could go back to sleep. Yeah, curious about the Dundee move because I do know that there were lots of shots being taken towards the Premiership by people saying a nice step down in competition for Dalby moving from League One to the Premiership, and people were offended. Offended. But I'm just going to go through the stats. I don't know, Brandon, if you wanted to bring those ones up for the Rotherham Huddersfield Town and whether it's worth going through, except to talk about. I mean, that was Kim's right. When you want to end up looking at how a game is being played, have a look at the passing percentages. And this one's ugly. And Brendan, I don't know if you're joining.
I am. I'm here. I'm trying to straighten out the FOT mob stats for you.
So I'll just keep on chatting while you're doing that. And they did happen to show up on my thing. I'm going to look at the League One table as well, just while we're at it, because obviously we've got the Wickham game going on, and we've got the as well as the Huddersfield one. So 0-0 where we are, so that puts Huddersfield up at the top of the table with 10 points. If it was to finish like this, they'd be at 3 wins and 1 draw. Rotherham, with their single point, moving from 2 points to 1, and just outside of the danger zone, with still Cambridge and Leyton Orient and Shrewsbury still to play. Blackpool losing to Wickham. So Wickham, surprisingly, and maybe this is a feather in the cap for Wrexham, I don't know. But they'd be at, I guess it's still 500, 2 wins and 2 draws if they're able to hold on to this one, but sitting in 8th at the end of this, with probably end up mid-table by the end of the day, you'd assume, if they're able to hold on. And Blackpool still struggling. They've got a point to show for this, but nothing more. And yeah, I'm Shrewsbury at home. It's 6 amazing games to start the season, and we kind of get into, I don't know if you can call them doldrums, but at least certainly stuff that Wrexham should be taking advantage of and winning. Right? You've got obviously a tough one with Bolton that we had the scoreless draw. Reading was a tough one. You had Wickham, a home opener. If there were points to get, I think that was probably the one to go and get it. Then you got a derby match, and then you've got Brum away. That's a gauntlet. But the next 2 weeks are going to be exciting. FA Cup draw coming soon, where that's going to fire up in November. Do I want to say the 17th? They did, right? Competent. Not flashy, but competent. But you'd expect a team like Wickham, with little changeover, they'd be able to maybe jump right back into it a little bit better than, say, Rotherham or Brum, who have done mass changes over the course of the year. I was also looking at a bunch of potential players. Did we count out that somebody who's in the know and has done it? Let me know if it's a 22-man squad or a 21-man squad, because I brought up the stats. I just didn't do that last night, and maybe I should have. I mean, Max didn't count last year as an August 9, 2002 born, correct? And I think that was his first year. And so does Seb and Mo count? And that's the question I'm going to have to look into. Anyway, the FOT mob stats up for me to go through there, Brendan?
Yeah.
And did you, and sorry, Brendan, were you loading this one, or did you watch this one? Did you download or pay for this one?
I did, yes.
So, give your thoughts generally.
There were some flops, right? But overall, I thought the game was very physical. The ref was letting it go. I would imagine Rotherham and Huddersfield would do well against Reading and potentially Peterborough, because they seem to have younger, players, slimmer, faster players, and less bulky, stocky guys. These teams look very physical. I think they're going to match up well with Wrexham.
I just got it from James that they did that conversation over on the local pundit yesterday, and said that they don't count. So that's where we're at with as far as that one goes. I'll go through the stats here just to go through the chat, because Kim said, where do I think Mansfield losing Keller done and kind of forced into that one because he didn't want to be in Mansfield, which I find interesting. I don't know how that all transpired and played out. But they, do I think that they're going to be relegated? No, I think that they still have enough to hold on. I don't think that they're going to be up competing. It'll be interesting to see that Stockport game today. Stockport clearly the better squad, but their kryptonite is Mansfield. Stockport hasn't beaten Mansfield away since 1983, if I've got that right. And so it's crazy stats, something like that. And so I'm interested to see how that one all pans out. And if it is the case, I mean, then we've got a free to look at, right? Even if we were to sign Josh Adam, we have frees to look at. I was trying to look at them last night as to who's available, other than Aaron Connolly and Isaac Success, which I think are beyond our expectations. Aaron Connolly was with Hull City last year. Isaac Success played in Serie A. I don't imagine they're looking at Wrexham as a target, but there are some potential players that are out there, Prem 2 type players who haven't signed yet, that I think you could take a potential flyer on. And some of those would count and some of those wouldn't. Obviously, those Prem 2 teams being young players who have been released from their Premier League teams for their contracts. Some of them still under 21, some of them just over. But I think that they've all got a little bit of baggage on them, except for one who may not be enough of a player. But the ones that were certainly capable had everything from one player who was actually on suicide watch for a season back in 2023 to another player, 2 players who had hamstring injuries that took up like months of their season last year. So I'm curious to see if we've got back pocket free agent ideas, but not a lot that's out there right now. We shall see. I think you're right, James, and that's what I thought. And then last night I looked at the regulations and went, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense to me. Before or after, it's not really defined. So what am I doing? And I got into my head, and I was too late at night for me to figure out exactly what was going on. So I just said, you know what, I'll deal with it on another day and make a video, because I was asked to do a video about that, as well as looking at the championship financial fair play to kind of explain the Birmingham situation. So I may be looking at that at some point in 2. The stats are up. Finally get to them. 58% possession to 42% possession. Expected goals 1.10 to 0.35. I think that came on towards the end. That last 5 minutes, 7 minutes or so, Huddersfield was actually finally be able to put some strings together. And really, though, the shots on target 2-1 the other way. So XG is a weird number, because you can never, it's supposed to be adding, if shots are taken from this point, here's where you'd expect them to be scored. And maybe other than that header that was completely missed, I don't know how that one went in. This should be a 1-0 game. But the passing, the accurate passes, 71% to 65%, that's atrocious. Any way you look at it. Accurate crosses, obviously, Rotherham playing a similar style to Wrexham, 5-2 on the accurate crosses. Interestingly enough, it's been Huddersfield with more long balls. That doesn't go with my eyesight. Is that what you saw? Accurate long balls. I mean, I guess it doesn't say how many attempts were made, but Huddersfield with 15 to Rotherham's 9. Brendan, is that what you saw?
I don't know that I'd say one was more accurate than the other. Yeah, I mean, I guess I maybe I'm not paying as much attention as I would in a Wrexham game, but they were both equally ineffective.
Swirly saying the bottom 4 for her: Reading, Cambridge, Shrews, and Mansfield. I think that misses out on Burton, and that misses out on I don't think Leyton Orient's going to be down there. They're winless, but I still think that they're going to be able to pull it back up. Burton, Shrewsbury, Cambridge, my guaranteed 3. And then you're going to have a fight between, and I'm surprised Stevenage is where it's at, sitting in 11th. I'm surprised Northampton. I had Northampton probably most likely to fit that spot at the start of the year. They've only got 4 points, so still, you know what? I'm going to go with them, Northampton, as my relegation sides. But I should have typed out my list. The nice thing is I can just float around and convince you guys that I said something entirely different as the year goes on. We talked about Mo Fall early on. Before we started here, Brendan, but did you have any thoughts on him and or more importantly, when he may get in and what the lineup might be for the Wrexham Peterborough match?
I can't believe he's going to crack it today. It's too soon. I don't think he's practiced with them, and I don't think he's so dynamic of a player that he's a must start no matter what. Maybe if we were really struggling and didn't get off to the start we did and Mullen wasn't around, maybe. But I would expect Marriott starts. I would expect maybe the same starting five. I'm thinking at some point they got to mix Scar in there. I think Rathbone's question, is he back? They said he was back with the team, but I don't know if that just meant full workouts and maybe he starts on the bench again.
And I heard Evans has a knock as well, whether that's true or not.
Yeah, I think so. Evans is definitely out. So maybe Rathbone on the bench, not Jones this time, because even if he did just come back this week, the likelihood is they're not starting him. So, maybe Scar in the game, maybe O'Connor on the bench.
They are going to run at whoever is in the middle of our back line over and over and over again and look for spaces between the back line. This is going to be a Dobson day. He's going to be tackling and flying all over the place and have to. He's going to need help. That's why I was hoping it'd be Evans and Dobson and play them defensively with Lee and or Cannon up front in that midfield. We're not going to be able to do that, but I do think that Scar is better with his feet than O'Connell is. And I went to Footy Stats to load that up and compare O'Connell's stats to Wallen and Fernandez, which are Peterborough's two center backs. And it showed that Ewan's good with the passing, he's good with the headers, but his stats when things come through the floor, it's not quite there compared to most. And I think that this might be a game where Scar should come in if he's practiced up and ready to go and more comfortable, because he didn't look good in the EFL Cup game against, granted, Sheffield, it's a different quality. Not so much in the defensive positioning, but more in connecting with the players afterwards and advancing the ball forward. So I'm with you that could happen. I'm curious to see what we do on in the midfield. And I say that because obviously their formation being a 4-2-3-1, they're going to load the middle of the pitch, and we're looking to build out wide. And so narrow in defense, expand, like I expect that's what our game looks like. But as far as who are going to be the three midfielders who are going to look to tone it down, I love having Dobson there. I think Rathbone maybe has to come back in. And do you go with Cannon or Lee? I know most people are saying no changes, but I can see them happening today. So we'll find out in 30 some minutes or so.
But this is definitely one of the ones where you're thinking this is you said it before, like conflicting styles, right? And conflicting styles make interesting matchups. But I think conflicting styles making interesting matchups also gives you the volatility. You can't, I think, as easily predict the score. I think it's more likely that one team gets the better of the other style-wise, and it's 3-1 one way or 3-1 the other way. And obviously, I'm hoping it's us. We either are too physical for them to really get their flow going, or they're just too precise, too quick, and they're running at us, and we're just not in good enough shape yet. That's why
it could look like Stockport, right? 5-0 coming the other way because they're too quick through the middle and our back line can't handle it. I don't expect a 5-0 score, but
going to be key. And
yes,
that's why I think Scar won't start. That's why I think it'll stay the same back three, because Unless you think that O'Connell's just going to get spanked and Scar can handle it, you have to keep the three that have worked the most together, I think, to be able to withstand multiple guys running and you pick up him, and so on. So that's why I think they'll keep the back three the same. But, who am I to really know? I mean, Parky will make the calls. About ready to start here, so I'm going to switch you.
We're almost ready to start, and so I'll just once we get started too, I'll have my thoughts with that, because you're right about the contrasting style. Brendan is right, and by the way, subscribe button down below, like button down below. Let the algorithm gods know that we're here. Hit those. We're underway. And mass appreciation to both W and G, who's here doing the scores and updating everybody and does it every weekend. And I'm hoping we can get the system up so that he has it easier to deal with. It's still a work in progress. And then much love also to Brendan, who's producing this in the background, which gives me an opportunity to enjoy a little bit more family time and try to get other content out. So mass appreciation to them, and to Wrexham, and I'll have to get the Twitter account who helped out, and I'll push that one later. We're underway. We're 32 seconds in, 33 seconds in, and we're going to get a throw in by Rotherham, who's going from right to left on your computer screen. A long throw towards a short post, but easily headed away and at least back out. James tries to get it in, and it gets. Did that get deflected out? Did get deflected out, and so it's going to go for a corner. Going back to the issue, the contrasting styles is interesting because you've got talented, young, quick players, but then you've got old dogs with all of the tricks in their back pocket and stuff like that. More physical team. You've got the variation in style, the 5-3-2, and it's built up through the wing. And opportunity off that corner, and it was headed forward by McCartan and just goes up over top. I agree with that statement from Kim that Bolton is better than Peterborough, but Bolton looks disorganized at the moment. I absolutely agree with that. And then Doncaster taking the lead on Port Vale. But it's going to be where one team's going to want position, the other one's going to be comfortable without. One team's young and the other team, and are we getting another yellow card here? We are. Evans just pulling a player down. Have a look at the file. Evans says he got the ball. I didn't see that, but I'll watch the replay here. Ooh, I think that's one of those ones where, yes, he got to the ball, but the question is was it 50-50 in there for him to get, and he kind of put himself into a position. Cardiff taking the lead, trying to get out of the basement. Only 4 positions higher than Wrexham at the start of the day was Cardiff. Crazy. Would you have thought that a couple of years ago? But yeah, where the teams are going to want to build up on the pitch between Peterborough and Wrexham, where the age difference is going to be a massive difference. Like, I think in almost every single area and style in which how the two teams play, they're exact opposites. So it's going to be an interesting one. Hard for Blackpool to fill their stadium against Wickham. A lot of empty seats at the main stand. Then we had the whole ticket controversy with that Ashley guy from Up the Poshcast. Good for them for starting their podcast and creating some controversy and throwing out nonsense to get some follows and some likes. But the whole away allocation not sold. Yeah, but then he comes onto Twitter afterwards demanding apologies. So Brennan just in my ear saying he was better talking to Matt, and he was. But Charlie with the 5-0 prediction. I mean, Ashley with the 4-1. I don't get that. Even in a cup game, where you're taking on a lower team, very rarely do you end up with blowouts. Goal disallowed, so we're back to 0-0. But at least with a point, I think they get out of the basement. Huddersfield, whoa. Just had him around, had number 7, Marshall, around the jersey. Wrong team. Powell. Yeah, pulling arms. That one, he reached up and grabbed Powell by the top of the jersey and just held him down. And so it was a pretty clear attempt for a header. Powell not able to get up to get anywhere close to it because the defender just grabbed him by the collars and briefed him to the ground. And the referee just went, yeah, play on. Oh, man. Flops, miss hits, and Lonvik rolling on the ground. I mean, if this is we've seen better than these two this season. Maybe somebody would say they're just so good that they're equal, that they're nullifying each other out and making the game look scrappy because they're there defensively. I guess that's a thought, but both teams just seem off. Dare to dream, Swirly. The coach is bored. Like, this game's tolerable for people who are in attendance, largely because the weather's really nice. Is that one went out for a throw, and the fans have a shout for saying he got kicked in the stomach. I didn't see anything there, but now you've got Odafin rolling a Dauphin. Oh, they're saying he got swept underneath. Lonvik put it up in the air. He jumped up, and they're saying he got low bridged, maybe. And a Dolphin goes over and gets it again and gets wiped out and rolling on the deck. The fans are getting restless. Huddersfield not able to get control. They get control. They kick the ball. Rotherham has it. Step over top. A Dolphin tries to get it forward. Teehee. They're actually able to do a thing, and then he kicks it out of bounds. So we ended up with 4 passes in a row, and that was exciting for a moment. And it all went to crap afterwards. So I missed that, Brendan, in my ear. Sorry, I missed the start of that. Yeah, I was thinking what Brendan had said earlier, not to this question, but Swirly and James talking about Cardiff and Swansea there. I think it'd be entertaining, and how much I think it'd be disappointing if Cardiff and Swansea weren't there by the time we got there. But yes, having them staying in the championship, James identifying that too, as they're both in precarious positions. TNS qualifying for the Champions League. Haven't we heard that all through Twitter yesterday? And I guess they're playing their games in Shrewsbury. They wanted either Shrewsbury or Wrexham because of the proximity and the size of their stadium, get some extra cash out of it and play some extra games. And I guess Shrewsbury is letting them do it. And Jesus. Fouled, and so going to have an opportunity, but that was all off of a miss hit. Like, it's like these guys haven't played together. James goes and tries to get the pass through to Clark Harris, and Clark Harris then tries to play it on thinking James is going to come to him and completely misses it. So James has to go and chase after it, and then is able to draw a foul. So we're going to end up with an attempt here by Powell. What is this? 9 yards away from goal and a yard outside of the 18-yard box on the left-hand side. So dangerous situation. Too close, I think, for an up and down. So it's only a one, and it's going to be a left-footed in-swinger. So he's not going to be taking a shot on goal with this, but just one man on the wall. And here it comes. Oh, he did put it on goal. Just hammered it straight at the keeper. Both managers should agree to a 0-0 and just shake hands and end it. That's what we're saying. If Cardiff and Swansea aren't there, it'll be because they're in League One. That's what we're saying. Wrexham gets their promotion. Swansea and Cardiff go down. No, you know what? Seeing Rotherham, do I think Huddersfield may have something? Sure. But I'm surprised that Huddersfield's top of the table. I mean, I've seen Reading now. I've seen Wickham, Bolton. There's just not much in this. What was the game that we watched last time? Was it Stockport and somebody? Wigan, yeah, Stockport, and they looked better. Like, outside of the argument that maybe it's just that these two teams are so good defensively that they can't get anything going, but this is box to box ball bash with nothing really to talk about. Yeah, coordinated attack, and that's Brendan in my ear with that one saying neither team putting together a coordinated attack. Huddersfield, long ball, trying to get it over to Sorensen, who's even that preventing the goal kick, getting the throw in. But Sorensen's impressed me. Karoma has impressed me for Huddersfield. For Rotherham, who's impressed me? Nombe's fast. Adolphin gets into it, but that's about it. I mean, what are you going to do? They got the money. That's the nature of football, right? No cap, go at it. And we took advantage of it for 2 seasons. So fill your boots. I mean, that's my take on Birmingham signing a $12 million player, and all the money that they pitched is Rotherham long sweeping ball trying to get it into the box, and it's missed. And Lonvik, nice little tackle, but he put it out for a throw. Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, I had Birmingham at the start of the year before the transfer window even closed being the team to expect at the top of the table. I thought that as to autos, there's the debate that Bolton could be up there, Peterborough could be up there, Rotherham I had up there as actually the team I thought was going to be there, and Huddersfield. Those 4 teams, I think, more likely to take that other auto spot, but I always had them a step down from Brum. And so, you know, Brum's got the top spot and they'll lock it up. And unless something happens and they completely fall apart, which would be entertaining. Oh, that would be amazingly entertaining to watch the club spend that much money and then end up shit in the bed. Do I expect it? No. And so they'll take that spot, and everybody else scrambles for the auto in the playoff spot. Goal kick, and well done by was that Kelly? Fighting off Karoma, who's been the guy stirring the drink as Kelly, a midfielder, was back there in a defensive role, center back role, able to maintain and get possession. That's got to be a free kick. Yeah, he was just tripped. Nothing egregious in that one, but he did clip him in the heels. And that was Nombe just inside the midfield stripe, getting balled over, and so Rotherham's going to have it on the right-hand side. 57 minutes and 20 seconds coming up here in 3, 2, 1. 57-20. But just, it's a scrambly game. Cardiff and Swansea are championship mainstays. I'd be surprised if they go down there. Like Bristol City, they just never change leagues, which is true. But I just don't. You look at transfers and you look at signings this year in the championship, and not really a lot there that impressed. And so if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not building, you're sliding. And I think that it may catch up. Sorensen, great ball, switch over to Chroma. Oh, just took a bad hop, but you saw that ball go up, and I was like, he's getting that over top of the defender, and he did, but it just Chroma not able to get it. And here comes an opportunity, gets it forward. Chroma knocked down, left footer, just misses to the right. Chroma and Wiles playing with it just outside the 18-yard box, and it was Chroma puts it forward to Wiles, who gave it back to Chroma, who got knocked down. Wiles was able to knock down the clearance with sort of a back heel stab in the air, and then went and had a left foot crack at it and missed just to the right. Game should still be 1-0 except for that missed header. Donny asserting itself in league in their game, 3-1 up over on Port Vale. I don't even know if Rotherham's going to make top 10. I mean, I've seen now what, 9, 10 teams, and Wigan was horrible, but I don't have Rotherham being a thing right now. Yeah, and Kim's exactly right. The thing about Bolton is that you can see exactly where their potential is, and don't see anything from either of these teams. And then Birmingham haven't shown who they are yet because they did mass changes, and so they're going to figure it all out. So I'm hoping we have enough time to go and nick some points away from them. Away as, ooh, that was a bad giveaway. Keeper has to come out, Nichols, to go and save that, and he gets it out, and then he takes a flop. And tried to do the... There are boos as Rotherham tried to grab that and throw it in while Nichols is splayed out outside the 18-yard box. He ran out there to go and clear it, and it was able to clear it. Oh, and then flopped so that he could avoid the quick throw. He's fine. Arsenal and Brighton tied. I hope the Posh flop today. I'm really excited for this one because I'm trying to look at contrasting styles, and in every area, this one is different. Where the players, where the strategy is to build the ball, the formation that they have, the youth versus age, I will give it to Peterborough, and the one thing that they've done well is they scout young players, bring them in on relatively cheap transfers that are capable, build them up, and then sell them for a profit. And it's how Peterborough, let's be honest, crap interest in the club. They've really been around in the top or the mid table, the Championship, League One. They've had three seasons since 2006 anyway. And it's sort of their high water mark. I don't get why people think that they're going to be something big. I don't think they ever will be, but they seem to have a system set up steady to be a top League One bottom Championship club, and that's just where they'll be comfortable. Tough to support a team with, unless you're a local and part of the tribe, I suppose, that's really kind of going nowhere. And that's where I see Peterborough's. They spin the tires doing the same thing, and they will, and they've got to continue to do that unless they can get the marketing improvements. And their owner seems to be a great owner, except his marketing stuff is horrible. But anyway, just still scrambly. 62 minutes, and it's just... Now both teams are just playing long ball, and there's a miss as he gets through. Sorensen, Nombe into the penalty area and cleared out. Great recovery by Lundvik, who came way over from the left side and able to hustle him back and catch up to Nombe and get that out. If I was to give a man of the match on this one early on, I'd probably be Lundvik, maybe Karoma, but for it's been Karoma, Lundvik, and Sorensen have been the three that I've noticed. I'm looking at the numbers, and they say Miller has the highest ranking for Huddersfield. Corner kick, left-footed, outswinger, near post. Lands, chested and lands and clears off the deck. So not much coming from that one as Teehee gets it over to the right-hand side. A Dauphin, he's looking. Everybody's still forward after the corner, and he's going to left-foot it in, and it's cleared out, but it's 18 yards. Settle down. Shot, and it's going to go for a corner. Bounced it off of his head, and I don't know who was the defender who got in front of that fearlessly, but they took that off the noggin, and they've gone to ground. 14. Miller, who we were just talking about, sacrificed himself, taking that smash off the face. Still grabbing his head. We're gonna be a while with this one. See exactly where that struck him. Headed down, and then here comes the left footer. So he was headed it, and then he actually got it off the top of his head. So he'll be all right. But that's two. He got the header clear that went down, and then just took it off the top of the noggin. The tie-dye training kit out on the pitch, is that what you'd call that? It's not really tie-dye. Yeah, it's a different pattern, I'll give it that. It's almost like somebody just dumped acid on weird locations and made like little circular loops. Still down. Another thing that was interesting in the rules while I was looking at it, I actually blacklined or redlined the new handbook compared to the old handbook to have a look at the rules. Other than the change in the championship of the number of subs and players that are on the side of the bench, one of the rules that intrigued me is they reduced the number of concussion substitutes from 2 to 1, and we were impacted by that in a game where we had the other team had 2 concussion subs, and so we were allowed 2 extra subs. They've now reduced that to just 1. I find that odd because if you take it back to that game, and I can't remember who that game was against. If anybody remembers in the chat, feel free to remind me. But Patty, by the way, hi, Sheldon. Thanks for joining an absolutely horrible game when there was an open opportunity to call it offside. The flop GIF is amazing. Considering the spending by Birmingham, how much better than us do you expect them to be? 1.5, 2, 3 times? I mean, they can only play 11 on the pitch. And then do I find there to be a big divide? No. Do I think that they're comfortably going to win 3-1 in a game? I think that's their best as a two goal lead. I think just over the course of an entire season, they'll be all right, right? So nobody's going to get close to them in the standings. Left-footed out swinger in the corner, kick, it's headed down, but not much on it there from Clark Harris, and it goes just to the right of the post. But yeah, I'm with Kim. All that money in Birmingham still won't blow away teams very often in League One. But I think that's even when you take FA Cup matches and you take teams from lower divisions and you put them up against championship competition, you still expect that there's going to be, the odd, obviously David slaying Goliath, scalp being taken. But it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. I just think they're not going to blow the doors off of Wrexham. But nobody's going to touch them in the standings. They're going to win this one clear and easy away. There you go. The Whitecaps are good for something, right, James? Yeah, Swirly, I think that's a fair assessment from Swirly that they're probably a bottom to mid-table champ club right now, and I think that's true. And I think they'll load up against in the window next year, and that'll be much easier for them to push into a top-level champ team, and they'll have 3 players out, 3 seasons to be able to do things. So this is just a scrambly, horrible game. Yellow card coming here to Sorensen on the tackle down the left-hand side. that was he hugged him, he grabbed him, he let him go, and then he grabbed him and pulled him back, and he ate a yellow card for it. And so this one in a dangerous territory only because it's in an awkward angle. I don't think it could go up, down. Well, no, left-footed anyway. Going to be here. What is that? 12 yards away from the goal line and just outside of the 18-yard box. It's up its short post and easily cleared away. Headed clear. Rotherham has it, pushes it back in the box. Says Teehee, and is he going to get it back? He's not. A Dolphin clears it, and they're able to get that out. Yeah, Deandra, I'm with you. And to be fair, watching this, although Rotherham's been on more of attack recently, they're starting to search here as this is continued pressure as they nick that one back, and they're going to get another corner here. A Dolphin, Teehee starting to assert themselves, just not really getting anything going. Haven't looked at Clark Harris doing anything. Humphreys, I haven't said his name. Referee gives the announcer a yellow card for complaining about the quality of the game. I'd be at red by now, wouldn't I? Good. Into the box, cleared away, nothing developing from it. Huddersfield looking to potentially counter, but they give it away, and James ends up clearing it, and here comes Rotherham again. Tries to get it over top, and it's cleared away, and Sorensen on his yellow card definitely touches that one forward, but here comes Rotherham again. So this is Rotherham starting to assert itself. Been 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Powell, Kelly switches on, going to get it over to James on the left-hand side. James, 35 yards out, brings it back. Powell, James. The build-up is real now from Rotherham towards Wilkes, who gets pushed in the back, and he tries the flop, and it doesn't work. And Huddersfield now, Sorensen. Right footer swept up over top and straight out. Dreadful, the announcer calls it. I didn't think that Rotherham was pinching pennies. Are they going through a takeover? I was unaware of that if they are. Well, that's true too, isn't it, Swirly? But I think they put themselves into the position to be able to make a run if the club and the players that they have signed this year demonstrate they're able to next year. And they'll give them 1 or 2 new weapons, I'm sure, next year. Kelly over to a Dolphin on the right-hand side, 18-yard box. Teehee in the box towards the goal line. Oh, he tried to draw it back and lost control of it. Karoma and Humphreys get tied up. That was just a battle. And it ended up rolling to the keeper anyway. So let it play on, I say, as Nichols thumps it down the pitch. Or, sorry, Phillips. The roster came out, and I just heard a thing. Fall is on the bench. Here we go. The lineup is out for the game that matters, and we'll come back to the game here. Here's the lineup. Ogonko in goal. Our back line, Cluworth, O'Connell, and Connor. No change there. Barney getting the start on the right side. So, is that a red? Red. Smashed in the face. Danny Ord getting a red card. And so Huddersfield's going down a man. 19 left. Come on, Rotherham. Take all the points from Huddersfield. Got my cart right in the schnoz. Let's go back to this. I'll look at the replay here when it pops up. In the middle, Dobson, Lee, and Cannon, exactly the same. McLean on the left-hand side, and McCart goes up and just ran into him with his face. Just straight smash to the face. Reckless. And Danny Ward's name being echoing through the stadium, and he's got the big goose egg above his. He's not rubbing the left side of his forehead, but it looks like, and maybe it's just the shadow, but it looks like he took a knock. He's got a bump on the top, but they're looking at his jaw. So back through it, Marriott and Palmer up front, and then you go to the bench. Scar on the bench. Revan on the bench, Fall and Rathbone and Fletcher and Mullen. So that's up front. You've got Mullen and Fletcher to come in. You've got Rathbone in the midfield. Scar, the only defender. And then you've got Revan and Fall. Fascinating. That is predictable. And I'm not surprised because that's what you'd expect from Parkey. But Fall is on the bench. And while we're at it, I'm going to save that image and get that to you, Brendan, in the background via Discord so you can grab that. And I'm going to have a look also at the Peterborough lineup. The bench is completely different. Huddersfield coming forward, down a man, or up a man. Down a man, sorry, and Kimura trying to get it over, and they score! Take the red card and lift your middle finger, lads. Huddersfield goes up 1-0 on Rotherham on a play completely done by Kimura, and just draws that one in on one pass into the middle of the pitch, and they're now a goal up. Crazy. Come on, Rotherham. Hodge comes in as a substitute, and Kimura just serves him beautifully. He's wide open in the middle of the box. Monsters on the bench, says James. I guess the starting lineup is all Parkey. The subs bench is Kimura just grabs this and busts his way around. That's Kamora. Well, I don't know what Rotherham was doing. They just thought they had red men so they could leave their center backs and send them wherever they wanted them, because there is nobody around the goal scorer. 3 guys on Kamora. I think that was just mass panic. Kamora blasting by 2 people, and so he ends up drawing 3 more into him. Like, Kamora took 5 players out for Rotherham, and there's just nobody there. And now Rotherham singing Danny Ward, having taken the red card. Parky going for the attack on the bench. We've got options. Rotherham's manager was left. What club was he with last year that he left them, and they were doing relatively well, and then slid over to Rotherham and went up so that they got relegated into the league he was in. Flop. Oh, gave it. That's one of the worst calls I've seen in a while. That's a flop. Wilkes was going nowhere, running towards the end line. Sorensen gets close, and he flops and draws it. Watching this again, does Sorensen get him? Oh, no. No way, sir. No way. Sorensen with a right-handed shoulder. He was holding his hand. But Wilkes goes down on his own, and he gets a penalty, and this one's got a 76% chance of being 1-1. Crazy piss poor call by the official. Clark Harris from the spot, 1-1. Smashes it twice. And for Rotherham, it has taken them, how many minutes is that? 270 plus their added time plus another 70, roughly about 360 some minutes, I'm guessing, before they score their first goal of the campaign. But they are a 1-1. And you know what? I'll take that. Then drop points. Yeah, keep her right. Clark Harris goes left and smashed. Well, we got a little bit of excitement out of this one. Rotherham? Is it that's like do I keep saying Rotterdam by mistake, or is that the spell check who keeps grabbing it? Because and changing Rotherham to Rotterdam. I've lost count of the teams I've heard being rumored of going through a takeover. I know Reading is, yes, and they actually sent a message out with their statement regarding no transfer. See, people talked about a trade embargo, but I thought that was lifted in 2023. The reality is the owners just don't want to pay any money to bring anybody in. And I'm shocked at W&G that next week, the international break, and I think it's Birmingham that's not playing. The only one that had, I think it's 3 players you need to be on international duty that you won't end up playing, and they've got 2 Icelandic internationals. And I don't know who the third one is, and so they won't be playing. But yeah, Sheldon. I'm with you. I think if there was an opportunity to slide in some extra players, trophy match maybe. But and Delgado, a big fan of Chris's from Switzerland. I am. Yeah, no, Jack, I know you are, but from Rotterdam. But anyway, I need to pull off the Peterborough lineup. I haven't looked at them yet, so let me go ahead and try and figure that out. Well, and I haven't. Okay, Jesus wept. Look at our bench. The roster should be there for you to be able to look up. And I haven't said it this match, and even though this is a bonus one as far as the sponsorship goes, no ads. This season, all because of ultimatepromotions.com, and he gave a free kick on a week challenge. The assistant put the flag up, I guess, but McCart giving away a foul outside of the. Oh yeah, another flop. Karoma bumps into McCart and throws himself to the ground. The officiating in this game has been shocking. But I guess both ways. Oh, and I missed it. Tony signed for Peterborough United on a 3-year deal. I missed that. So this one's going to be 2 yards away from the goal line, just outside the 18-yard box. Going to be swept into the area. It's up and it's cleared away. It's and then banged off of a Huddersfield player, and a Dolphin's going to get that one for the throw. So up front, Mothersale, who's really a midfielder who's playing as their lead man in their 4-2-3-1. Odo, Randall, and Poku are going to be the guys up front, which really the two on the outside, Poku and Odo, have been the threats. And I say outside, they don't play really in a wing position because they push everything through the middle, but Poku and Odo are going to be looking to try and sort of just on the edges of the 18-yard box, I imagine, look to trying to work things past their defenders and overwhelm O'Connell and Dobson. In the back, Curtis, Fernandez, Wallen, and Sparks. Curtis, Fernandez, and Wallen rave reviews so far, and I don't know whether that's because they haven't, but they haven't played a team that throws in as many corners or crosses as Wrexham does. We're going to be looking to try and beat them anyways, but they've got a 6'5" guy and a 6'2" guy there to try and clear those away. And Fernandez and Wallen. Curtis is on loan from Sheffield United, I believe. I think the weakness is of Jack Sparks, who plays on their left, so it's Barney. And so this is, if there was a reason to play Barney over Revan in this one, that's the reason why, is because Barney over Sparks may be an opportunity to exploit. We'll see how the game goes. And then you've got Cipriano and Collins likely coordinating their defensive mid. And we'll see how that all pans out. So an expected lineup, looking to their bench, did they bring any of they had 2 transfer signings and neither of them are on the bench. So it's all there. I'm going to go back to the chat and see everybody else has probably been contributing. Reading and Stockbourne has been postponed too. I missed the first one that hasn't been. Peterborough have a larger than normal pitch. Yes, they're the 5th largest, or tied for 4th, largest. Which is conducive to actually both teams' style in a sense. We want to take advantage of the edges where they want to use the extra space in the middle of the pitch. James Lee, Jesus, that's a bench. Isn't it just though? I mean, I wonder what you do with I guess depending on the score, whether you bring people in, but I'd like to think it's going to be Mullen in for Marriott and Fletcher in for Palmer, but you never know. And we'll see how Barney does lining up on this one on that right side. I think that's going to be, I do think that's the side that they're going to be working on for both teams. Odo on their left, Barney on our right. And I think we're going to see a lot of ball go up and down the same side of the pitch. Rotherham, as you'd expect, being up a man with the pressure. 18-yard box. Wilkes trying to get it. It's cleared out. It'll go for another corner. That one taken short, and we'll see what happens. 7 minutes, and Rotherham trying to play fast. This one will be a left-footed in-swinger from the right side. Near and easily headed away, and they're still working at trying to get this thing forward. Wilkes with it, throws it back into the box. It's zero header, almost accidental by O'Doffin, who heads it while he's falling down, lands into the hands of Nichols. Ugh. He did see it. I don't think he anticipated that it was going to get over top of the Huddersfield defender, and so it ends up just getting missed on the headed clearance, and he just sort of falls back and tries to make contact as O'Doffin and puts it on. Yikes. I'm going... I did say 2-1 in the broadcast. I think... I mean, it's probably, to be fair, going more likely a draw. I think there's goals in it for both clubs. You know what? I'll say the difference is going to be Ogonko. Their keeper, I will say if there is a weakness on Peterborough, their keeper is atrocious. He was atrocious last year. He's 55% save percentage. Ogonko could steal this one if there was an Ogonko steal. So I'll call it. I'll say 2-1. Yeah, Sheldon, that's the thing about Fall. I everywhere, right? I do think that he's better as a target man in the middle, but and especially when you got Revan, McLean, Barnett, Ford defensively. It's got to be frustrating for Bolton, almost out on a transfer, and then doesn't end up going. Falls apart at the end, and I still haven't heard a reason as to why that's been. But yeah, my prediction 2-1. Wickham goes up on Blackpool. What's up with Blackpool's start? Cardiff down 2-0 to Middlesbrough. Cardiff 4 places ahead of Wrexham in the pyramid right now as Huddersfield slowly walking off for applause as they're trying to let the clock go down by a man in this one. After a Danny Ward head smash into McCart's face. It's going to be a tough match. It's going to be a fascinating one. I hope that both players bring their A game and they smash each other both ways. Whoa, did that one just really go Blackpool 2-2? Fascinating game there. I've heard it was boring from somebody else who was tweeting about it, but they're up. There's been goals in it. But I hope that both the Posh and the Dragons bring their A game. Because I really want to see how the style and the age versus youth plays out. Because this is going to be 2 teams with very different goals having a crack at each other. Powell with it. James. Rotherham still searching forward. Wilkes with it. Right-hand side. He's come all the way back, Wilkes has. And it's going to be a switch over to the right. Huddersfield's parking the bus. Is that true, Kim, this year? Because, I mean, I guess Wallen and Fernandez are really question marks for me. But for Posh fans, they say it's the first time that they've had no issues on their back line in years. I don't know if that's necessarily true or they just haven't been tested. They admit that they haven't had a team look to throw corners or throw crosses at them frequently, and that's what we're going to end up doing. So we'll keep testing them. It'll be interesting to see. James gets it into the box. It's cleared away as there's 3 minutes left in this one. We're at 6:16, and then we'll transfer pretty much, take a 5-minute break and head over to the other stream and load up and prep for this one. Yeah, and I think that Sheldon, I think that that's, and I don't even think it's just necessarily back and forth. I think it's going to be them at us with extended possession, and then us with a right hook counter. And I can see a mistake by a keeper being the difference. And I would expect that more from Jed Steer with his 55%. Whoa, Powell taking a left footer, deflected off of Sorensen and just goes wide of the net, and we'll get a corner taken by Powell for Rotherham. Donnie or Port Vale scores to come back in. Well, that's part of it too, right? Ogonko, amazing shot stopper, but he's still young and he makes a couple of mistakes. But what is he, 81% save percentage? Low bridge on the keeper, Nichols, but Nichols just plays on. I'm surprised that he played that as quick as he did. A red card for kicking the ball away to a Huddersfield coach. That's a new one. The walk of shame. The ball got deflected off of Sorensen's head and ended up into the Huddersfield area, and they punted the ball away from James, who was trying to take it quickly. Rotherham being up a man, the Millers trying to push forward to steal 2 more points out of this one at home. Powell just ran himself out of territory for Rotherham, and it's going to be Huddersfield collecting it. Ooh, a tackle from behind, and is Huddersfield going to get a clear in? Yeah, nope, they're just going to go for a throw, and James going to try to throw it into the box from the side of the pitch. Blackpool and Wickham seems entertaining. Blackpool done some wild plays playing from the back. I might be the first half I heard was boring, so might have picked up. This one's just got exciting because of the red card. Prior to that, it was a horrifically boring match. And then Kamara just basically strapped up and scored a goal for Huddersfield. He didn't put it in the net, but he just basically said, "We're going to score now, and I'm going to. If I have to beat 5 guys to do it, I will." And he did. And then Rotherham on one of the worst penalty calls I've seen. Feel free to watch the highlights if you don't. But in Wilkes, here he is, left footer, scores! Wilkes pulls a Kamara, takes the jersey off and tosses it away. He sneaks it in. 6 minutes of stoppage time goes up at 90 minutes, and Wilkes ends up adding that one. Ooh, that was almost like the Kamara goal, where Wilkes just said, "You know what? Forget it. I'm going to take 3 points in this one." And he slaps that one in on the near post. Malik Wilkes first, and that was just served up to him on the edge of the area, and he just beats the first man. There's open space there, and he just plots it into the far corner. Who was number 6 there for Huddersfield on that side? I don't know what he was. Hogg's over there, and he just kind of throws his leg out as he gets walked past. Really poor attempt at a tackle, and Wilkes just cuts it back inside, embarrasses Hogg, and then slaps it into the corner. And I think that was weak by Nichols. I think Nichols could have got over there. It wasn't an exceptionally hard shot, well placed, but I think he had time and space to get there. But worse by Hogg. I don't know what Hogg was doing. Gave him the inside to cut back into, and then when he took it, he just sort of lazily stuck his leg out there and nowhere close. Four and a half minutes here. We'll have to bring the table up when we get over onto the Wrexham broadcast. Another opportunity in there, and Nichols comes out and collects it. Crazy. No, I think we might. I don't even think they're worth looking at. I'll go through the FOT Mob stats right now, and then we'll just leave it at that, because I'm. So 50-50, so Rotherham putting on the pressure. It was obviously like 60-30 at the half. And Rotherham with taking advantage of the red card. Expected goals 1.58 to 1.44, relatively close. Total shots on target 5-2 for Rotherham. The passing, did it get better? The answer, no. 70% to 66%. I guess marginally better, and better from Rotherham, but largely that's going to happen when you've got 20 minutes plus that you're playing. Who was it that just went off? Nombe. He had himself a decent game, to be fair. At least I appreciated his pace and his effort. I wouldn't say that his touches were exceptional by any stretch of the imagination. Chroma only with a 7.4 on the FOT Mob rating for Huddersfield. To me, he's the man of the match for both sides and clearly the best player there. Hugill flops. The refereeing in this match has been one of the worst I've seen. I'm going to have to take the note to the official, because I don't want to see him again. Or if we do, I want Mullen out there flopping all over the pitch, because he'll give it. Because that penalty that he gave was brutal. And that was Wilkes who earned that one too, wasn't it? Up against Sorensen, and just threw himself to the ground right near the goal line, and the penalty given. Huddersfield with possession, 10 down a man, trying to find openings. And they're moving forward. 35 yards out, brought in, not there, and cleared away. Hey, Matt, how are you? I never sent you a password. Oh, Let me get over onto my. I'll send it to you right now via if you can still join. I thought I'd sent it to you below. There it is. There it is. 6:03. So you've been sitting there for a while, 20 minutes. If I miss out on you, that's my fault. First time we've done it, trying to add somebody, and now everybody knows what we were trying to do. But we can get you brought in if you're interested. Not a lot of people watching this one or does it just not load? Have to advertise better, I guess. Teehee coming out, a minute left in this one. One of the up until the 70th minute when the red card happened, this game was nondescript, boring, and was just really two teams with contrasting styles, not efficient, not effective. The offensive coordination, whether that because they haven't been playing long together, Huddersfield didn't go through that many changes. It was a scrappy, ugly game. And then the Danny Ward head smash red card, and then the dynamic changed. Kamara scored one. Well, he didn't score it, but he did all the work leading up to it and basically strapped on a goal from Huddersfield, and then a brutal penalty call, and Malik dancing on Hogg, and Rotherham goes up 2-1. The Millers are going to take probably their first 3 points of the season, and Huddersfield's going to drop their first points of the season, as we're seconds away from that happening. And I guess what we'll do is we'll take a 5-minute break shortly thereafter. Fill up your coffees, head to the facilities, and then we'll join in about 5 minutes over on the other channel. If in the interim, while you're there, feel free to hit this like button down below, by the way, to let the metrics work. But feel free to join us over on, or to go to Twitter, sorry, and on the pinned comments, repost that one and send that one out. And I'm going to go back down. It's been boring even with the goals. Yeah, I get you. I mean, the red card added the spark. We're waiting for the whistle here to secure things as Sorensen's running forward to try and do something. And Matt, if you join in the interim, we'll try to add you quickly as soon as we get back on. We've gone a whole extra minute since the goal. It took him a minute and a half to get it played off, so I think the whistle's going to blow here shortly. Got to be a whistle here soon. And there it is. Rotherham grabs their 3 points. What a scrappy, ugly, horrible, nasty game. And I'm, to be fair, not impressed. But it is what it is. We'll sign off. Thanks for joining on this one. Well, I'm looking to do this all the time, whether people join, don't join, or otherwise, because it's been fun to try and get an idea as to the teams around us. So thanks for joining early on. We're going to shut this one down. We'll be over on the Wrexham link. I should grab that one. I should grab that link while I'm at it to make sure that everybody has it, and pin it in the comments so you can go directly to it. Where are we? 3 people already waiting over there. It's almost got. Oh, and a red card at the end of the game. There's the link. Join that one. Sign on over, and we'll be there in about 5 minutes. Thanks for signing up, joining in, and we'll see you over. Cheers. Bye.